Okay, so today I'm going to be reviewing the 2025 Cadillac Escalade IQ. And, well, this is probably one of the craziest Cadillacs since ever because, well, of multiple reasons. One, well, this thing is a 3-row all-electric Cadillac SUV, the first of its kind, at least for Cadillac, and, well, that's not even the craziest part. Two, this thing has, at the most, 750 horsepower. And three, well, the design looks like an alien spaceship. Just look at it. This thing is wild. And so, in today's video, we're going to be checking out everything you need to know about this car, from the specs, design, exterior, interior, driving experience, and everything else. So, let's go. And, well, first thing first, we have to talk specs, because this thing's specs is otherworldly, literally, because one, well, regularly you get 680 horsepower and 615 pound-feet of torque. I'll also equate that to newton meters and kilowatts as well down here. But, well, that's not even the craziest part. Then, if you press this mode, it's called Velociter mode. I don't know why they named that, but it's a little V button on the steering wheel of the car. If you press that, then, well, you get 750 horsepower and an insane 785 pound-feet of torque. So, well, those specs alone signify that this is one car you do not want to mess with. And, well, that goes through all wheels because, I mean, in order to push such a heavy thing to such speeds, you need a nice all-wheel drive system, and, well, it's powered by a dual motor all-electric all-wheel drive setup. And so, well, use that all-wheel drive, and that helps you rocket to 0 to 60 in 4.5 seconds, which is just wildly insane. And, well, 4.5 seconds 0 to 60 and a top speed of 120 miles an hour. And, well, yes, you're probably wondering, why does it have 0 to 60 in 4.5 seconds when it weighs around 8,000 pounds, but the top speed is so slow? And actually, because it's too heavy to reach that high of top speed, but, well, the acceleration is insanely fast. And that's actually, for people who haven't watched my channel before or just isn't really into cars, the reason why EVs can accelerate so fast, even if they have not too much horsepower, well, this one has a lot of horsepower, but for ones that don't have as much, it's because, well, electric motors can send instant torque. That means, well, we have all 785 pound-feet of torque at our fingertips, even when the car is stopped. So, even when the car is stopped, you could accelerate and you'll constantly have that exact amount of torque. But with, let's say, a gas engine car, that's not the same. You have to accelerate, and then slowly the horsepower and torque will go up. But in electric cars, that's instantaneous. So, well, that is pretty insane. And, well, I told you guys the specs, 0 to 60, top speed, the horsepower, and all those wild things. You guys are probably now wondering, well, if I'm going to buy something like this with a price tag of, I can't say, but a price tag of, let me just say, under 130 grand, but above 110 grand. So it's somewhere in between there. But with that price tag, what is the range like? And also, what is the battery like? And so let me tell you guys that now. And, well, the battery size of this thing is humongous, 205 kilowatt hour battery. But, well, this, with a 205 kilowatt hour battery, and a Tesla Model 3 or even Model 3 Performance has a 3 kilowatt hour battery. So, for reference, this thing literally is like a Tesla Model 3 battery, two of them squashed on top of each other. Not necessarily, it's not like two Model 3 batteries squashed on top of each other, but the size is exactly like that. And it probably weighs around 1,000 pounds because, I mean, look at how huge that thing is. Just the battery weighs probably around 1,000 pounds, just under the floor, so the floor could be perfectly flat, which is also, of course, pretty nice. But, well, let's move on from the battery size to the range, MPGe, and the charging, because you guys are probably wondering now, well, with that humongous battery, this thing has to charge like lightning quick. And, well, I will tell you guys that just now, the charging is an 800-volt charging architecture, which is humongous and actually quite good for this car. And to charge the car for 10 minutes, you get 100 miles of range. So, whoa, this thing charges quite quick. Not as quick as some insanely fast charging cars like the Li Auto L7, which can charge from 10 to 80% in 7 minutes, but, well, let's just act like that doesn't exist. Well, this thing has charging in 10 minutes, you get 100 miles of range, which is also quite nice. And, well, then you're probably wondering, if you get 100 miles of range in 10 minutes, how far can this thing drive? And, well, the range is 460 miles of range. And that is purely insane for something as big and bulky as this, because just the hood literally comes down to the side of my face. The roof is about 9 feet tall, the top of the roof. It's pretty crazy, but 460 miles of range, which is seriously great for a car this huge. Even as good as some Teslas and Porsches and multiple other like Hyundais and stuff like that, so that's quite cool. Then, well, you have the MPGe is 55, so you have 55 miles per gallon electric. That's what MPGe stands for, miles per gallon electric. The miles per gallon electric is not great, I mean, truthfully, most likely because of the design. I mean, it's kind of aerodynamic and kind of not, because just like, look at this thing, it's humongous. There's a lot of like just straight lines, and I mean, truthfully, it's kind of shaped like a brick almost, kind of an aerodynamic brick more like, but still, this thing definitely isn't greatly aerodynamic. And actually, speaking of aerodynamics, let me tell you guys how aerodynamic this thing is. And the drag coefficient on this car is 0.321, pretty much counting down. And so, well, for those who don't know what it means, drag coefficient measures how aerodynamic something is. And, well, I mean, this is pretty good. Not the greatest, but still, this is actually a 15% reduction in the amount of drag this car creates compared to previous Escalade gas-powered models. So, of course, that's also quite nice. And so now you're probably wondering, what is the price of this thing? Because I gave you guys a brief little hint, but I haven't actually told you the insane price. And, well, actually, before I tell you guys that, let me just tell you guys the history of this car, because it's quite interesting. And, well, it all started in 1999 when the Lincoln Navigator was revealed, and, well, GM wanted to quickly rush out something to compete with it, something that was luxurious, big, comfortable, nice, and everything pretty much you'll need for a luxury family SUV. And as you'll see right there, that was the first ever Cadillac Escalade, and it was created from 1999 to 2002. That was the production year, and originally it was based on the GMC Yukon, which is quite interesting. It was based on the GMC Yukon, and it's pretty much a rebadged, more luxurious looking, more comfortable, nicer GMC. In 2002, actually, when they discontinued the first generation Cadillac Escalade, they started making the second generation, which went until 2007. So the production run of the second gen was 2002 to 2007, and, well, it got a new third row, which is actually quite nice. Now all Escalades have third rows, but back then it was only a 2-row, the first gen. So it got a new third row, it got more luxurious touches, more leather, and it moved farther away from its original, I guess you could say, GMC Yukon route. So slowly it started becoming more of its own car, started being made more in-house instead of being based on something else. And then, well, in 2007, the production of that ended, and, well, again, a third gen came, and that third gen lasted until 2014. So 7 years, and you got sleeker design, you were faster, you got more tech, and overall, it was just better than the earlier generations. And, well, that was probably the best Cadillac Escalade to date, the 2007 to 2014 one. But then, of course, between 2015 and 2020, that was probably one of the wildest ever Escalades, because, well, there was huge design changes. Actually, the interior was completely revamped. You had way new tech, and it was way better than before. Then, come 2020, you get the craziest Escalade yet. From 2020 to 2025, well, this Escalade, you have a brand new crazy design. You have a 38-inch OLED design screen, which was probably one of the biggest screens ever put on a production car then. And so you had that humongous screen, and the overall design was way more futuristic, crazy, and personally, I think it was the best looking year of the Escalade. And well, this one is also quite cool, but I feel like one of my favorite, at least gas-powered variants, was definitely between 2020 and 2024. And well, that was probably when they had the most huge change. But come 2025, they decided to pretty much renovate their entire line of cars to all have this new, I don't know what you even call it, but now all the Escalades and everything have this like strip down and strip coming across, and then the headlights are kind of built into it, pointing down. It also reminds me of the Porsche Mission X hypercar. I don't know if you guys have seen that before, but it's a concept car and it has these same like straight up type of lights. But now all Cadillacs have this, and they have, at least the EVs have this like strange looking like fake grille. But overall, this new design has definitely been the craziest so far, because car design has just been becoming crazier and crazier. And well, I think I've told you guys pretty much everything you guys need to know about this car. I think it's time to tell you guys the price, because you guys are probably wondering, what is the price? This thing looks wild, it's fast, the history is quite cool, and the price of this thing is $130,000. But if you spec it up, if you want to make it nice, and even in this spec, this is about $145K, and you can spec it all the way up to $170. So the price of this thing is purely insane. I'll show that to you guys in euros down there as well. So I think I've told you guys everything you need to know about this car, or at least what's under the skin. So I've told you guys everything you need to know about this car. Now let's check out the design. Okay, so now let's take a closer look at the exterior of this car. And well, first let's start off with this front, because well, this thing is purely crazy looking. Let's first off with the lights. Of course, you have these really cool LED lights coming across here, and those are your daytime running lights, and then you have your nighttime running lights there actually, which is quite cool. Then you just have this like plastic and chrome type of trim there. There's a little chrome piece here, and these must be your, I guess, fog lights. These are your fog lights, I guess, because they're a little different shape, and then those are your regular lights. So that is quite cool. Then you have this fake grille, which is also quite interesting to say at least. I don't think the hugest fan of it, because I don't know why. What's the point of putting a fake grille on an electric car? But it looks quite interesting. You have this cool little like design here, and then you have this really nice like chrome piece coming across the front of this car here to make it seem, or at least feel, more like luxury. And well, of course, this is Cadillac. This is like the Rolls-Royce of America, so of course it is going to be quite luxurious. But yeah, and then also you have that really nice Cadillac logo there. And actually, quite interestingly, let me turn this camera around. This Cadillac logo, you could actually, well, it lights up. When your car is charging, it turns green. When you're driving, it can light up at night so that people could see that, well, you're driving a huge Cadillac. And truthfully, I don't feel like the camera doesn't even give justice to how big this thing is. Let me just walk over here, because, like, literally, this thing is a monstrosity in size. Like, literally, if I reach up, I can't even reach the roof of this thing because it's so huge. That is just purely wild. But anyways, that's crazy. Then you also have your little light right there. And I'm a huge fan of a lot of these car companies these days doing this thing where everything is like perfectly symmetrical. I think it really helps with the like exterior and interior design. It makes the cars look more cool and just better in general. And then also you have that like strip coming across there as well, which looks quite nice. The body trim actually like bends down and then like comes up almost to make it look like it has a interestingly shaped bumper, so that is also quite cool. Then you have your air intakes right here, which also look quite nice. And I don't know why those are fake, but you have fake air intake here, and then you have a real one right there, which of course looks quite nice. And you can see that those are the actual air intakes back there, but these are just, this protects like rocks and large debris from getting into those and maybe messing them up or something like that. So of course that's quite nice. Then this little sensor right here is actually kind of cool that this sensor has like, it looks like the line is coming across. So it looks almost like, at least subtly, it looks like the plastic piece, yeah, it's plastic, the plastics pieces are coming all the way across. So that is also quite nice. And these sensors are actually to help it do like a type of Tesla style, I guess, self-driving. So of course that is also quite nice. But yeah, then you hop down here and you got some more air intakes in there. And actually, as you can see, it looks like these are air intakes right here, but there's another layer of plastic back there, and then actually another layer. Here, let me zoom in for you guys. That layer all the way back there that you could actually barely see is the real air intake, but the rest is just protecting it from debris, because this is like a perfect scoop. Like, this is like a perfect scoop to scoop everything into there, but of course that blocks out all the debris, which is also quite nice. Then you have some more sensors right here, or maybe that's a tow hook. Sensors or tow hook, either one, but of course that's also quite nice. You have chrome trim coming across here, which also I'm a big fan of, and I really liked it. Not extensive, but they use chrome just in the perfect amount of way. I don't like when cars use so much chrome that it just looks like over chromed. I don't even know if that's a word, but I guess you could say like over chromed, but I feel like it looks just perfect when you just use some subtle chrome here and there, like Rolls Royces and Cadillacs and luxurious cars. So of course that is also quite nice. But one thing that's actually strange, at least to me, is that, check this out. This might look like real air intakes at first, but look closer. Those are just fake. I don't know why you'd need fake air intakes here. I mean, it does make it look slightly more aggressive and gives a little more depth, I guess you could say, to the design, but truthfully, I don't think it's really needed, really. Like, I don't know why they added that there for some design, but I don't really think it's needed. But anyways, then let's come to the side of this car, and actually right before we do that, I'll also show you guys also this hood size, because just look at this thing. Like, literally, look at how huge this hood is. Like, you would think there's a V12 under here because this hood is so huge and long. It's, I'd say, about 5 feet long. Yeah, that's a good 5 feet long, that hood, even though this is just an EV. It's most likely for storage. I'm not sure exactly if it is, but that is also quite nice. And you have these like dents in the hood of the car as well. This little piece is like coming a little more up. These piece right here to make it look more aggressive, and also for aerodynamics, so the air flows more across here and then up the side of the car. So that is also quite nice. Then you have these humongous tires. Like, literally, I have to compare myself to the size of everything in this car because it's just so huge. But these tires are, if I squat down, literally to my cheek, like almost to my nose, but those tires are just humongous. It's actually, I believe these are like 35-inch tires or something like that. These things are just beasts. But, and of course you have your Cadillac lettering there, and of course it looks like it has like this chrome trim on it to make it look more luxurious, but of course that's quite cool. Then you have these little like lions and strips and stuff, either for looks or to make it more aerodynamic, but either way, that is quite crazy. And then also you have this like, this milled, I guess you could say, like milled titanium trim all around there. And actually, to make it more aerodynamic as well, this hubcap is mainly plastic. I think this is metal, but, oh, and this is metal, but the black part is plastic. But this hubcap is actually hiding the 5 bolts in this car, so there is the connecting bolts, and I believe there's 5 or 6 of them, but, well, Cadillac geniusly hid them behind there. So 1, it looks more smooth and luxurious, and 2, well, for aerodynamics. So that's also quite nice. Then you have this nice like trim coming across here, and it actually reminds you of like a wide body kit. It's supposed to have that effect, but Yeah, it gives that effect definitely, and it makes it have more depth in the design, and of course, that is quite nice. But yeah, and actually, speaking of cool things and nice things, actually, this thing has something called crab walk. I'll show you guys that right now. So now we're going to be showing you guys what it looks like when you crab walk in this thing. Check that out. So both wheels are turning at the same time. You see how cool that is? And then of course you could turn on the four-wheel steering. So that is purely wild, and you could actually see those back wheels turning along with the front wheels, which actually is, you could only have that option when you're parking. And the reason why is because, well, that way you have better turning radius and not as terrible because, well, this thing is so huge. And as you saw, crab walk is crazy. It's pretty much where this tire and this tire, well, all four tires, but on all the sides, they all move one way or the other, so it could like go diagonally, which pretty much is impossible for every car except for this, the GMC Hummer EV, and some Chinese cars, which I don't know how true it is that they could do that, but it looks super cool. And there's also four-wheel steering, which aids with it being able to do the crab walk. That's literally a dream come true. So that's also quite nice. Then you have your turning signal here, which is like crystal type of design to make it look more luxurious. That is also quite nice. Then right here you have this like chrome trim coming across here, and of course your beautiful chrome Cadillac badge. That's super cool. But yeah, then you come to the side, and this is one thing that's definitely not too aerodynamic. You have this really like square mirror right here, but it is huge, so you have so much space to view behind you, which of course is quite good, especially in a car as huge as this thing. I'm estimating, actually let me test it out. Let's see, 1, 2.
Eventually.
So this thing is about 15 feet long, at least from what I guesstimate. This seems like it's 15 feet long, which is wild, and you know, I could definitely see it being that long. And then you have your humongous doors, and actually I'll show you guys this later, but the doors don't open like usual doors. I won't tell you how just yet, but they open different than most doors, and well, it'll actually quite shock you, so stay tuned. And then also you have a little step area up here, and when you open the door, then it has so much more space to step, so of course that is quite nice. And then you have your little window back here, and I believe this thing is 3-row. I'm not completely sure, but I believe this thing is 3-row. And then they also have the Cadillac Escalade L, which I hope to review in the future. I don't know when, but the Cadillac Escalade L is one with a humongous rear window. It's about 2 feet longer than this, so it's about 17, 18 feet long, and well, that one will be even crazier because, I mean, it's going to be so much heavier, huger. And yeah, then also you have the silver trim coming all the way across here, which is also quite nice. And actually now, let me show you guys the back of this thing, because this is probably the strangest part. It's definitely controversial. I don't know if I would say I like it or I don't like it, but I mean, I could definitely say it is strange. Because you have this weird looking rear light here with this little like chrome strip with this interesting little engravings on it. So that's quite interesting. Then you have this little red strip right here and then another red strip behind that, and actually that's a reflector back there, that one. So you have your reflector hidden into your car, and then you have another reflector and your backup light, so that is also quite nice. Then you have the trim level 1000 E4, so it's showing, I don't know what 1000 is for, but it's showing it's E electric, and then it has, of course, four-wheel drive, all-wheel drive, but it drives all four wheels and could do four-wheel drive crab walk, so that is quite cool. Actually, the light like stretches up here and then keeps going up here, which is quite cool, and that trim, that nice chrome trim just keeps, like, it goes across the entire car, which is quite nice. But yeah, then you have your light up Cadillac badge there, you have Escalade IQ lettering here, and of course you got your little cameras there. You have this camera, maybe night vision, and this camera, day vision. That camera looks quite strange, but the other one just looks normal. So that's also quite interesting. Actually, one more thing before we check out the trunk. You have this really nice like strip light right here. It goes and it comes up in the middle to make it look like a little tiny fin almost, which is interesting, but that cool little design feature there. And then of course your antenna right there. So now let's open the trunk. So well, I got the trunk open finally, which is quite nice. And well, this is 3-row, and the trunk space, I mean, it's relatively good. Yeah, you could close them via this, but you could close them and open them via those buttons there. You have a nice little charger there. If you want to tailgate, let's say, and watch a football game, then you have, of course, these areas right here. You could actually connect, I guess, like, it's not really a rope, but it's like a net between these, so you can hold in bottles and anything like that. So that's quite nice. Then under here, you actually have to close that down. You have your charging cables, first aid kit, and not much more because the batteries take up most of this floor space. And well, then also you have your Escalade IQ lettering there, which is also quite nice. But yeah, so I think we've checked out all of the trunk. Now let's keep getting on with the video. So I think we've checked out all of the exterior of this car. Now let's hop inside and get inside of here, then plop ourselves in, close this nice door, and as soon as you get in here, you could literally feel just pure opulence. This thing is just so luxurious, and well, just look at this screen. This thing is humongous. The screen is about 3.5, 4 feet long, insanely long screen, so that is quite cool. You have, of course, your nice little buttons to adjust your seats. You can, I guess you can't put your headrest up, but you also have the buttons to move your mirror around, which is quite nice. And then you have lock and unlock buttons. You put the window down or up via that button. Sounds kind of strange, but interesting. Then you pull this up to electrically open the door, and then you could close it. And actually, I don't know how safe that is, because like, let's say a battery goes out or something. Can you open the door and get out, or will you be stuck inside? I wonder if they have a manual button or something, but of course that'd be quite nice. And then of course this is also your handle to grab stuff, and you can maybe put your phone or snacks or something in there. So of course that is quite nice. Of course you have the nice speaker there. You have some storage down here where you can put whatever bags or chips, maybe some filming gear and anything like that. So of course that is also quite nice. Then you have actually this thing, it looks like a complete fan, but it's actually a couple separate fans, I guess, like 1, 2, 3. So 3 separate fans spanning across here, and it looks like just one straight fan. If you put this on a little down, yep, it all looks just straight, which of course is quite nice. And you actually have these little things. You could turn up the amount or turn it down via these. And this one goes up and down. I don't know what those are for, but yeah, that's also quite interesting. Then, of course, you have your area right here. You have your glove box, and actually, interesting way to open it. I'm gonna show you guys right now, but this is so cool. You open it via this. You press this little button here, and it opens. You have Super Cruise, convenience, and personalization guide, and some other things, but this thing has self-driving, at least like level 3 self-driving, I believe it is. So, of course, that is quite nice. And actually, let me open it. I don't know. Okay, you can't close it automatically, but you have to close it manually, but you open it automatically, which is a nice little trick so that people can't just get into your glove box when your car is off. So, nice little safety feature there. You have, of course, your speakers here, and then some speakers here as well, or actually, that's AC there, and you have a humongous speaker. This isn't speaker like on Volvo, but all this is a speaker. It's shaped like a honeycomb, interestingly, so that's a cool little like honeycomb type of speaker there. But yeah, that is also quite cool. Then you have actually a heads-up display. I don't know if it's working right now, but a heads-up display, it'll be right in front of your view right there, and it'll show you what speed you're going and everything like that. I'll show you guys that when we test drive the car. So that's also quite nice. And actually, before we check out any else stuff with this car, let's see how good the screen is, because I've never reviewed a Cadillac before. I'm going to see, is their screen any good? Does it compete with Tesla or anything like that? So let's check it out. You have YouTube. Oh, okay, I guess it turns off. You have this, and then you have web browser, HDMI, Hulu, Tubi. So just simple stuff. You have screen brightness. You could change. You could put it up. Oh, well, that thing just got almost completely black, but you can turn screen brightness all the way up, Bluetooth headphones, voiceover, factory reset, open source license. So simple little screen here. And then you have vehicle status, drive mode, my Cadillac. So you can do tour, you can put it in sport mode, snow mode, ice mode, tow haul mode. So, and you could press these. Oh, I believe you could turn all the stuff up. Oh, okay. So it shows what level that's on when you switch to the different modes. So that is also quite nice. You go back to home in my Cadillac, Play Store, charging, ambient lighting, which of course is nice. You could have glow and I don't know why I can't find the ambient lighting. Strange, but I guess you can't see the ambient lighting here. Let's see. Okay, so brightness is supposed to be all the way up, but ambient lighting just is not working. Strange. So no working ambient lighting because it's supposed to like light up here and stuff like that. It's messed up for some reason. But you have trailering. Strange word, but you have trailering there, camera settings, and auto park, Wi-Fi hotspot. You have, of course, Google Maps, and my gosh, this is so quick. It's actually, like, this is probably the only screen I've ever used that has come close to Tesla. The screen is seriously good. You have music, you have phone, you have charging, and you could turn vehicle on or off. You have a timer, and you could open that with the button, but you have to close it manually, and then you could turn this on. One pedal driving and one pedal driving off. I'm not really a huge fan of one pedal driving, but it is quite interesting. Then you have, of course, the speed you're going, you have the range, the miles per gallon, 253 miles left, and the battery is at 97%. So, of course, that is also quite nice. And then this just controls the temperature and everything like that. If you want it to be hot, cold, how high you want it to blow, how low. So that is also quite nice. And there's actually screens back there that I want to check out later. And yeah, that's also quite cool. But first, let's check out the rest of this. You have this nice wood or silvery wood type of trim here, which looks cool. You have this little metal band right there, which also looks quite interesting. And then this metal trim coming across here. And actually, speaking of screens and driving and stuff, let me actually show you guys what this thing is like to drive. Okay, so now we're test driving the 2025 Cadillac Escalade IQ. And, well, I thought the first thing I noticed, the interior, you cannot hear anything from outside. The sound deadening is on point. How much does this thing weigh, I wonder? Like 7,000 pounds, something like that?
Yeah, somewhere right around there.
Yeah, so yeah, somewhere around 7,000, probably 6.5, 7,000 pounds. But the ride quality actually feels quite good, actually. I believe it has the magnetic suspension, the magnetic damper suspension, which also helps keeping the car more like balanced and making the ride quality feel way more like smooth. What would you take, this or like a regular Escalade?
It depends. If it's gonna be a lot of long haul trips, then I would take a regular Escalade, like an Escalade ESV Sport Platinum.
No.
For in town, this thing's awesome.
No, and it has 460 miles of range, and which really, well, this thing feels fat. Which really, like, the acceleration, it feels faster than 4.5 seconds when you actually accelerate. And from a stop, it probably feels like even crazier. Whoa. But 460 miles of range, I mean, it's pretty good for such a huge SUV, because like even Teslas and BMW and stuff like that, they only have like 300 miles of range and stuff like that. So, I mean, this is pretty good for Cadillac's like third vehicle, I believe. Okay, so for Ford, it's called Blue Cruise, but for Cadillac and Chevy, I believe as well, right?
Yeah.
Chevy, Cadillac, and maybe GMC, I'm not completely sure, but I believe all three of them, have Super Cruise.
So Super Cruise is actually on right now. So if sitting at the driver's spot, there's actually a green line that comes across the top of the steering wheel. Right?
Yeah. So it could pretty much, when you're on highways and stuff, it could maneuver through traffic and it could switch lanes and stuff without you having to do anything. But it does have a little sensor that watches your face to make sure that you don't fall asleep, which, I mean, is a great safety feature, but I'm not sure what it does if you fall asleep. It says like that it's changing lanes. Whoa, and this thing is so fast. Like, you can accelerate from 60 to 90 miles an hour and it feels like nothing. I mean, overall, this thing, like, the ride quality is pretty good. The interior is definitely really luxurious. Okay, so now we're gonna be testing it. See, it's on V mode. That thing is definitely pretty quick. And I think that was just on sport mode, or was that V?
That was V.
That was V, okay.
But you gotta think moving that much mass.
Yeah.
Fast.
Does this roof darken, I wonder?
This one does not. That's just how it is.
It doesn't darken, okay. And also another cool thing, you have this camera like I showed you guys earlier, and actually you could flip it down and it just shows like a regular mirror, but then you flip it up, see, it's a regular mirror, but then you flip it up and it's a camera, which is also super cool. Oh, and I guess you could zoom in and zoom out and stuff like that. That is quite cool. And are the Cadillac Escalades, like the gas versions, are they still like based on the regular like Chevy Suburbans and stuff like that, or no?
I mean, they have their own. This is the 5th generation Escalade that came out for the normal ESVs, and so they did a complete redesign on them, and they're beautiful. They're gorgeous. As far as for the chassis, I mean, GM likes to use a lot of the same, but whenever you get higher, they go up as far as the quality.
So this is like, I don't know, loosely based maybe off of the Suburban.
This or the
this. I mean the other one.
Very, very loosely.
Okay. Yeah, so that was super cool. Okay, so you guys saw that. That was super duper cool. Let's keep checking out this car, and I guess you press that button to turn on the trailer brake. You have minus and plus for a reason I don't know, and then of course you have your steering wheel here. You have all your buttons. You have your nice V button. That was nice to test out. It became really fast when we tested that, so that was quite cool. And you have park, you have the, like, these are the different shifting modes and drive modes. You have reverse, neutral, drive. Then you have that button there to switch on windshield wiper and stuff like that, so that is also quite nice. Then you could actually control the screen with this. But you can control the screen with this. And now it automatically is on here. So you could go up or down just by pressing this. And you can press this and twirl it just like a Mercedes. So that is quite nice. Take it off that. But yeah, that's also quite cool. You could change the volume of music with this. And that's nice as well. You have self-charging for the phone and little actually ACs that will blow on the phone. So that actually coolly, the reason why they have this is so that, well, when your phone's charging, so if you forget it for too long, it doesn't overheat. So that is also quite nice. Then you have, of course, your cup holders here, and you have this nice trim here as well, and of course you have this nice silver trim, and you could push this down for a strange unknown reason, but you could push that down for some reason as well. And actually, here's the key I wanted to show you guys. You have this really cool looking key here with the nice Cadillac logo there. Let's put that back down. But then also you have another phone charger right there, which is of course quite nice. Open this, and you have loads of storage in here. You got nice chargers, USB-C chargers, type of chargers like on PS4s, interestingly in PS5s. Those type of chargers right there as well. So that is quite nice, and you could relax your arm here. And the blue stitching, and actually now let's move on to the seats since we haven't really talked about them. You have actually speakers here. You have headrest area right there, and they're nice and comfortable as well, which is quite nice. You have this blue trim coming across here, and I really like the attention to detail in these new Cadillacs, and these seats are so comfortable, like literally. I'm a huge fan of these seats. And yeah, and they actually kind of hold you in place well as well, like kind of like a racing seat, but a more comfortable version. And you actually have storage back here as well. You have Toyota Sienna like storage under here, and stitching, interestingly, right here. I don't know what that logo is supposed to mean, but you have that cool stitching under there. And also, of course, have your sideless mirrors, and it actually turned into a screen, which is so cool. If you switch this, it's a regular mirror, right? And boop, it turned into a screen. Super cool little feature. I'm gonna keep it on that screen mode, but so cool feature. I don't know how they do that. It almost seems like they there's a screen and it makes it look like it's a mirror, so that you think it's a mirror, but it's really a screen. Strange but cool. And you have, of course, your lighting here. You actually just have to touch it and it turns on or off. I don't know what kind of sensors they have for this, but you lightly touch it, and then also there's a camera and some more speakers there. So that is quite nice. Then you have, of course, your really nice little sun blocker, and I don't know why, but the light comes on like slowly, and it's orange and like pulsating, at least on this camera. But yeah, that is also quite cool. And you got your handle there. You got, of course, your nice glass roof here, and whoa, that's such a beautiful view out of this nice car. And yeah, so car is super duper cool. Now let's actually just check out a couple more things before we hop in the back of this car. One of them definitely has to be this. So the seatbelt test, of course, is your own review seatbelt test, and this car definitely passes. Yeah, great seatbelts, nice and comfortable seats. So overall, so far this car has been quite nice. We're gonna check out those other rows. So I think we've checked out all of the front seats of this car. Now let's hop in the back. Okay, so we're back in these back seats, and well, first thing you see, you have this nice big screen. You have vehicle status. You can see the speedometer, energy range, trip information, and energy usage. You go back home and you go to YouTube and HDMI. None of those are working because we don't have a subscription and because it's not signed in, but that is also quite nice. So we'll just put this on default mode. But this seat, I mean, it's quite comfortable. You have a nice little armrest right here to rest your arm on, and then this is pretty much another armrest here. So his back seats are actually not as comfortable as the front seats, interestingly. Usually it's vice versa, but still, I mean, they're relatively good. You also have this little leather pouch back here, and you can see the plush material underneath it right there. But this is nice that they have this little indent like on Mercedes, so that you have more leg room. And well, the leg room is crazy good. This is comfortable for like a 6-foot adult, and whoa, I have a great amount of leg room. Like literally I could stretch my legs out all the way, and I still have space to stretch out, so that is quite nice. And you have that silver trim there, some of that wooden trim, and some speakers, and of course got some storage in there. But you got some chargers under there, which is of course nice, and that type of charger as well, those circular ones, so that is also quite cool. And now let's hop in the back seat of this car, and well, it's actually quite nice back here. The IQL will definitely have like probably a lot more legroom. Probably it'll have the amount of legroom at back in these seats as up there, and well, I mean, it's quite nice back here. The legroom isn't the greatest. I mean, just sitting regular, I have about 1.5 inches of knee room, which isn't too bad, and I'm 12, so of course that is quite nice. Headroom is, I don't really know how to say it. It's not bad. Like if I sit all the way up, I have, on this side I only have like 1 inch of headroom, but right here I have like 3 inches of headroom, so I have actually a relatively good amount of headroom, even though this back is like slanting down. And then also you have AC right here. You have your little cool, okay, they're not turning on. Oh yeah. Okay, so you have your cool little touchy lights that these ones aren't working all the time, but you have those interesting little touchy lights there. You have your top tether right here, and I mean, it's pretty good back here. You have USB-C back there, right here, and you have a little handle area right here, which almost looks like it would be a storage area, but I guess it's just armrest with a little cup holder. And the view of this car isn't the best. I mean, if I just sit back like this, you guys could see, like, I can only see like that way, but I mean, it's still relatively nice. You have this cool little trim here, and it would be actually nice if they just left all this open instead of covering it, but probably would have been a little more expensive to have the window just completely big like that, but still, that's quite nice. Now, let's hop into the middle seat, and well, I mean, it's okay. You have the most legroom out of anyone in the entire car. You can literally like lay across here, but it's not the most comfortable, definitely, but still not bad. And so I think we've checked out all of the exterior and the interior of this car and talked about the specs and everything you need to know. Now let's hop out and near the end of our video. So open those doors the cool way. Hop out, and we have Escalade IQ lettering there as well, which is quite nice. Let's close this door up, and actually I forgot to tell you guys the way the handle opens. There's a little button right here. I don't know if you guys could see, but there's a little button and it just pops open. So that is quite cool. But yeah, so I hope you guys like this video. Remember to like and subscribe to Xaaron Reviews, and see you all next time. And also check out my X, where I post all the latest and greatest car news from Ferrari, Porsche, Tesla to Cadillac. And also another favor, please check out my Instagram account, also labeled Xaaron Reviews, in the comment section below, because, well, I post some of the coolest photography I can make. And so I hope you guys like this video. Remember to like and subscribe to Xaaron Reviews, and see y'all next time.